Let me ask you this. If you have to follow a command or a law, does that make you more free or less free? Jesus said that the truth shall make you free. So what truth is he talking about there? Welcome back to another Branches devotional. And today we're going to be talking about freedom that's going to be found in God's law. So there's this interesting story in the Old Testament, in the book of Exodus, where the Israelite people, they're enslaved in Egypt, right? And what's interesting about it is that God, through many miracles, delivers them out of that slavery. They're set free, completely free. Finally, for the first time in years and years and years and years, they are set free. But what does God do next? Almost immediately after they're set free, after they're settled down in the wilderness, God gives the Ten Commandments. He gives them this law, right? His law to them. Now, that's strange, right? You would think that would be weird because a lot of times today, people view laws as restrictive, right? Especially when it comes to God giving us laws. A lot of times people think, well, if God's given us laws, it's restricting on my lives, it's restricting on my freedoms. It hurts me more than it helps me, right? I've heard even atheists talk about this, how following God's book, following the Bible, following the commands that it gives is actually more of a form of slavery than anything else. But is that really true? A lot of times we think of commands and we think of laws, especially when it comes to God giving us laws and commands, as restrictive, but really they're freeing. Think of it like this. When I was growing up, I played baseball. I love the game of baseball and I love to play it. But baseball has rules. It has laws in the game set in place that actually increase fun and increase competitiveness. I think one of those rules is how when you're running the bases, you have to stay within the baseline, right? So if someone gets the ball halfway through the baseline and tries to tag you out, you can't run into the outfield, run all over to try to get to the base before you get tagged, right? It's kind of as an automatic out. Now that's just one rule. But if you were to take away that rule, it would change the game completely. And for me, I think it would make the game just not fun at all. Because you'd have people running the bases, running in any way they want to, cutting across the field, running into the outfield. It'd be complete chaos. So having just that one rule in place actually leads to more fun, more competitiveness. I mean, it just leads to a better game experience on a whole, just that one rule being in place. That's how it is with God and the laws that he gives us. A lot of times we view them as restrictive instead of freeing. See, if God designed this world to work in such a way that if we live according to his word, it actually frees us. It actually brings us more joy, more happiness than anything else. See, living without law, that's complete chaos. That's complete anarchy. And it actually destroys ourselves and it destroys our society. It destroys others around us. But when we live according to God's law, it makes us better. God's law is to love one another as we love ourselves, to love him completely. How can that be restrictive? It just gets rid of our selfishness. It gets rid of our pride. It gets rid of destructive behaviors that we so often in our own fleshly passions want to live after. But if we turn to God's law, if we turn to his truth, as Jesus said, his truth, his word, that's what sets us free. God's law doesn't restrict us, doesn't tear us down, doesn't make us slaves. God's law actually frees us. It gives us the liberty, the freedom, in order to love people completely, no matter our differences. It gives us the freedom to get rid of our pride and our arrogance and tear that down and instead live in humility and meekness and kindness and forgiveness to others. That's what God's law does. So the truth of God's word will make you free. Follow God's word, follow his law, and that's how we can experience freedom and joy that last in this world. Love you guys. Later days.